Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Fishing with Flair. Today I'm going to be doing a jig fishing 101 video. I'm going to show you all my different types of jigs that I throw, as well as the rod, the reel, the line, and techniques, where and how and when to throw them. So I'll start off with the rod and reel. It's a Denali Covert Series rod. This is a 7.2 medium heavy jig rod. I know it will be upside down, but that's how I have to have my rod face so it doesn't hit the wall. A lot of guys I know use heavies for their jigs. I prefer medium heavy. Just because you get more feel, you can cast more accurate because the more bend you have in your rod, the more accurately you can cast. This one is definitely stiff enough to withstand, 5+ pound bass, or get hung up in a tree and get wrapped in a bush. This is definitely strong enough. If you saw my second place finish at the BASS high school championship, this was the rod I was using for those new techs. This is the exact setup. This is the same jig and everything. I have a new tech jig on it. I did put rattles in this one because in that tournament it was pretty dirty water. I do like to use rattles when it's dirty water. To the reel, loose tournament MG as usual. Pretty much what I have on all my setups. 7-to-1 gear ratio, 30-pound vicious braid. I know a lot of you guys do like to go to 50, and that's great. I have used 50 and it's worked fine, but 30 you can cast farther, and it's just a little bit smaller. It's more supple and not, I shouldn't say more finesse, but it kind of is. You know, it's not. I've never broken a fish off on 30-pound. Other than the knot coming undone or something like that. I've never just snapped 30-pound braid on an actual fish. I've snapped it on other stuff, but 30-pound is definitely big enough. But if you're not comfortable with 30, go ahead and go 50. It's not the big deal, but I do like to go 30 because it's more versatile. You can use swim jigs with it, pitching jigs, football jigs. You can use everything. So that's why I like to do that. And like I said, I have a new tech Pro Series jig on here, and the trailer is a Gambler Flappy Daddy in black and blue. This was the setup I was using at my last major event tournament. So I'll start off. I have lots of jigs laid out, and I'll start with this one. This is the New Tech Pro Series jig. This is where I throw 95% of the time. I'm throwing this everywhere, flipping, pitching, swimming. It's the most versatile jig that I've ever came across on the market by far, which is why I use them all the time. I don't use anything else other than really, really specific situations that call for something other than a new tech. You can fish this like a football head. You can fish it like a flipping jig, a swimming jig, a pitching jig. And I know a lot of you guys probably watching this wanting to know about the different head styles of jigs and where to throw them, but I'm telling you, if you don't want to get confused and have to buy 10 jigs for 10 different situations, you need to go check out New Tech Lures because it works all the time. I'm telling you, I throw it all the time. The only time I throw it is when if I'm strictly fishing rock piles, and that's when I'll go to the Blitz football head jig. And then I'll get into this a little bit more. So, like I said, these are all New Tech lures. This is not all the colors they offer. There might be some repeats in there, but that's just in general. And Gambler Flappy Daddy is the trailer I use. Again, 95% of the time. Flipping, pitching around docks, laydowns, through grass, swimming it. Works very, very well. So I'll go into the next one. I'll move these aside. And we'll go into the football head. So here I have the New Tech Lures Blitz football head jig. They just came out with this pretty recently. If I'm throwing a football head, that's probably the one I'm going to be throwing. It crawls across the rocks. You can see it stands up. You throw it down, and it stands up on end every time. I've showed that before in videos. You drop it, and it lands and stands up. Keeps the craw pinchers up in the air. Very weedless, very durable, very large hook on there. Make sure you get good hook sets. And for trailers on football head jigs, I do like to go to the twin tail grub. As you can see there, this is a Gambler twin tail grub. Just because when you're crawling it, you're usually not crawling it fast enough to make the Flappy Daddy, make movement, or any creature cross bait. If you're crawling your bait, it's not going to be sitting there kicking. Versus a twin tail grub, the twister tails will spin very slow at very slow rates. So that's why I like to use that. But I will show you some of the other football head jigs that I do have in my tackle box. In case I come across a situation. I'm not honestly positive on the brand on this one, but you can see just the different head shapes. I have rattles in this one. I have a PTO craw derv on the back of this one. See here, this is, I believe, Kevin Hawk football head jig with the Gambler twin tail grub on the back, and I did JJ Dip and Die, the the claws on that. This one came in a mystery tackle box or a tackle grab, and I'm not sure on the exact brand, but I'm just showing you this just so you can see the different head styles that different companies have to offer, as well as something like this, which those two are pretty similar. These are like mop style jigs. And I'll get into the rest of them. I'm going to stop before I forget, because I know I will forget, to go on to colors. When you're fishing a football head jig, you want to stick to basically a craw-colored style. You got the browns, the oranges, stuff like that. That's kind of what you want to stick to because you're imitating a crawfish. I will go to black and blue if the water's dirty, or I think the crawfish are dark color. Sometimes crawfish get dark green and purple and black colored sometimes. I will go to that. But if you're just looking to start off football jig fishing, you're going to want to stick to the craw patterns like the browns and the oranges, and just throw it out there and crawl it across the rocks. Find a rock pile, find a ledge, go crawl it down there. Just real slow, steady pace. You can hop it a little bit, but most of the time you want to keep bottom contact. And before I forget, I will go into the flipping jigs colors, because I know I will forget. I know I've done this before, gone into colors for this. My favorite all around, year round, is definitely black and blue, like this one. As you can see there, it's just black and blue with the Gambler Lures Flappy Daddy on the back. I've thrown this literally last week at the tournament that you guys saw, and I threw it back in March, right when the ice thawed, and I'll probably throw this right in November before the ice begins to form. I throw it year round. It's my go-to jig, and the only time I won't throw it is if I'm in really, really clear water. I know I'm trying to imitate a crawfish or a bluegill, which will imitate a bluegill, but not quite as well. This one I like to throw near the end of summer and fall, when the crawfish, they get this color, they get a little bit more orange in them. I think some people think differently, but I think that's kind of the color, and I like to throw this in the fall. This one is like in summer craw color. Obviously you throw it in summer, but I do like to throw that in pre-spawn and spawn, because bass don't like bluegills around their bed, and that looks kind of like a bluegill, anything green, swimming it around and stuff like that. So hopefully that gives you an understanding of that. I'll get into swim jigs. Although I do use a new Tech Lure swim jig for the majority of my swim jig fishing, I will throw something like this, which I believe that's a KVD, and then that is another brand I'm not aware of, with a KVD trailer. That could be a Strike King, I'm not sure. If you know, you can correct me. Usually I stick to these two colors, or I'll throw in a black and blue, which I didn't have in my box. A shad color if I'm trying to imitate shad, or a bluegill color if I'm trying to imitate bluegill. And I do throw this versus, the only time I won't throw a new tech is if there's tons of grass. If I'm throwing it through the grass and ripping it through the grass, the head shape on this one is a little bit more pointed, as you can see, and you will be able to come through the grass just a little bit better than a new tech. Other than that, I throw a new tech pretty much all the time, like I said. But if you're around grass and you're throwing around grass, like the thick kind of green mossy stuff, you're going to want to throw something like this, because you can snap it free and it swims a little bit more streamlined. It doesn't have quite as much water resistance as a new tech would. That's when I'll throw that. And like I said, basically the colors black and blue or bluegill, some dirtier water if I'm trying to imitate a bluegill, and then the shad if I'm trying to imitate a shad. And the last ones are when I hardly throw these. I throw these for probably 2 weeks out of the year, and that's literally right when the ice thaws, like the day of the ice thawing throughout that week, and then like the week before the ice forms. If it's water temps are in the high 30s. This is just a finesse jig. I believe this is a Stanley Jigs finesse jig. You buy them just like this, comes with the trailer and everything. When you're trying to really slim down your profile and fish something really small and finesse, I do like to go with these. They're very lightweight, I believe like 1/8 of an ounce, and I just throw them across rocks pretty much is where I like to throw these. Maybe around trees, but for the most part, the finesse ones don't do well around trees. And speaking of that, football heads, other than a new tech, will not do very well around trees. Like I said, you want to throw them around rocks. But if you do throw a new tech lures, football head, you can throw them around rocks and trees because of the dual weed guards, like I said. But anyways, back to the finesse jigs. Like I said, you throw them when it's really, really cold water, or if the bite's super tough, you can't catch anything. That's when I'll throw. So that's about it. Hopefully you guys learned a lot. If you have any questions, comment. I'll definitely try to get back to you as soon as possible. But that's it. Thanks for watching.